Sleep paralysis. Have you ever woken up, opened your eyes, and realized you couldn't move? Well, the only thing you want now is to piss your pants, but you can't even do this. You try to scream, but no sound comes out. You may even feel like someone is standing in the room watching you, and even worse, you can see the entity. You are basically totally paralyzed. You are cooked. This terrifying experience is called sleep paralysis. Because part of your brain is still dreaming, you may experience vivid hallucinations. Many people see shadowy figures, hear footsteps or voices, or even feel pressure on their chest. Although these sensations feel incredibly real, they are simply the result of your brain mixing dreaming with wakefulness. The more you are scared, the more scary these hallucinations become, so it's important to be as calmest as possible. Sleep paralysis is harmless and lasts anywhere from a few seconds to a couple of minutes. Stuff that increase chances of getting it are stress, lack of sleep, alcohol, and other bad stuff. The best way to reduce the chances of experiencing sleep paralysis is to maintain a consistent sleep schedule, get enough rest, manage stress, and avoid sleep deprivation. While sleep paralysis can be one of the most frightening experiences a person can have, it's important to remember that it is a natural sleep phenomenon and it always passes.
Lucid dreams. Lucid dreams are, in my opinion, the most interesting, strangest, and coolest things your brain can do while you sleep, because in these dreams, you know that you're dreaming. Once you realize it, something even stranger can happen. You can start to control the dream. This means you can change the environment, fly, talk to dream characters, eat food, or even create entire worlds with the possibility of feeling it all, just like in real life. There are literally no rules, only your imagination is the limit. You can do anything, you can image. Lucid dreaming usually happens during the REM phase of sleep, the stage where your brain is highly active, almost like when you're awake. The difference is that your body is shut down to prevent you from acting out your dreams. Scientists believe lucid dreams occur when parts of the brain responsible for self-awareness, especially the prefrontal cortex, become active while you're still dreaming. In a way, your brain is both the dreamer and the observer. Since everything in a lucid dream is possible, you can rarely, or on request, experience scary things, but you can wake yourself up on request in such situations. Without practicing lucid dreaming, you will probably have only a few of them in your life, and they will end when you realize that you are dreaming, as long as you are not a natural lucid dreamer. But everyone can start practicing it and experiencing it fully. How to do it is another topic, so I won't describe it here, but if you want, I can make a video on this. Lucid dreams are completely harmless and safe. Exploding head syndrome. Exploding head syndrome sounds dangerous, but it's not. Despite the name, nothing actually explodes inside your head. Instead, people experience a sudden, extremely loud noise, like a gunshot, an explosion, or a crashing sound, right as they're falling asleep or waking up. The sound isn't real. It's created entirely by the brain. These episodes usually last only a second, but they can feel intense and terrifying. Some people even see flashes of light or feel a sudden jolt, like an electric shock. Exploding head syndrome is classified as a parasomnia, a type of sleep disorder that involves unusual experiences during sleep transitions. It most often happens during the hypnagogic state, the moment when your brain is switching from wakefulness to sleep. Scientists don't fully understand why it happens, but one leading theory suggests that it's caused by a sudden burst of neural activity in the brain. Normally, as you fall asleep, your brain gradually shuts down different systems. But in this case, that process may misfire, triggering a brief explosion of sensory signals. Stress, fatigue, and irregular sleep schedules appear to increase the chances of experiencing it. Many people are convinced that something actually happened, that a door slammed, a bomb went off, or something inside their brain snapped. But in reality, it was just your brain misfiring in the dark. Night terrors. Night terrors are not just bad dreams. They are intense episodes of fear that happen during sleep, and unlike nightmares, the person usually doesn't wake up fully. During a night terror, someone may suddenly sit up, scream, breathe rapidly, and show signs of extreme panic. Their eyes might be open, but they are not truly conscious. They won't recognize people around them, and attempts to wake them often fail or make the episode worse. In most cases, people who experience night terrors have little to no memory of the event the next morning. Scientists believe night terrors happen when the brain is stuck between two states, deep sleep and wakefulness. Parts of the brain responsible for movement and fear become active, while areas responsible for awareness remain inactive. In other words, the body reacts as if there is danger, but the mind cannot understand or process it. Night terrors are most common in children, especially between the ages of 4 and 12. However, they can also occur in adults, particularly under conditions of stress, sleep deprivation, or certain medical conditions. What makes night terrors especially unsettling is that the fear is real, even if the person experiencing it doesn't know why. For a few minutes, the brain creates pure panic, without a clear cause, and without a way to escape it. Thankfully, they are safe. False awakening. A false awakening is exactly what it sounds like. You wake up, but you're still dreaming. In a false awakening, your brain creates a highly realistic version of your normal environment. You might get out of bed, check your phone, brush your teeth, or start your day, believing that you're fully awake, but none of it is real. Everything you see, hear, and do is being generated by your brain while you're still asleep. It's just a dream. False awakenings most often occur during REM sleep, the same stage associated with vivid dreams. In this phase, the brain is highly active and it can simulate reality with surprising accuracy. There are usually no obvious signs that something is wrong. The environment looks normal, the sequence of events makes sense, and nothing immediately triggers suspicion. Some people only realize it's a dream when something small feels off, like a clock showing impossible numbers or objects behaving in unnatural ways. Others don't realize it at all until they really wake up. In some cases, false awakenings can repeat multiple times in a row, creating a loop of waking up inside another dream. But don't worry, it's impossible to stay in that loop. You have to wake up, and you will do that mostly after the first false awakening, so nothing to worry about. Scientists believe this happens when the brain partially activates waking consciousness, but not enough to fully exit the dream state. Sleepwalking. Sleepwalking is a condition where a person gets up and moves around while still asleep. It usually happens during deep, non-REM sleep, most often in the first third of the night. During this stage, the brain is in a low awareness state, but certain motor systems can still become active. This is why a sleepwalker can perform complex actions like walking, opening doors, or even moving objects without being consciously aware of what they are doing. Their eyes are often open, and they may appear awake, but in reality, they are in a mixed state between sleep and wakefulness. Sleepwalkers typically have little or no memory of the episode afterward. Scientists believe sleepwalking occurs when the brain fails to fully coordinate the transition between deep sleep and partial wakefulness. In simple terms, part of the brain is asleep, while another part is on, enough to control movement. Sleep deprivation, stress, fever, and certain medications can increase the likelihood of sleepwalking. It is also more common in children, whose sleep cycles are still developing. Episodes can last from a few seconds to several minutes. In rare cases, they can last longer or involve more complex behaviors. Although it may look unusual or even alarming, sleepwalking itself is usually not dangerous. However, the real risk comes from the environment, such as stairs, doors, or obstacles, which can lead to accidents. Hypnagogia. Hypnagogia is the transitional state between wakefulness and sleep. It happens in the moments when your brain is shutting down conscious awareness and drifting into sleep. During this phase, reality and imagination begin to mix. People experiencing hypnagogia often report vivid sensory effects. They may see geometric patterns, faces, or moving shapes. Others hear sounds, voices, or fragments of conversations that aren't actually there. Some people also feel physical sensations, like falling, floating, or sudden changes in body position. These experiences are called hypnagogic hallucinations, and they are completely generated by the brain. Hypnagogia is considered a normal part of the sleep process, not a disorder. It occurs in the early stage of non-REM sleep, right before you fully lose consciousness. Scientists believe it happens because different brain regions are shutting down at different rates. As logical thinking decreases, sensory and memory systems can become briefly disorganized, creating dreamlike experiences while you are still partially awake. One of the most common hypnagogic experiences is the hypnic jerk, the sudden feeling of falling that can cause your body to twitch. Hypnagogia is usually harmless, but it can sometimes feel extremely real and sometimes unsettling, especially when hallucinations are intense or unexpected. Hypnic jerk. A hypnic jerk is a sudden, involuntary muscle twitch that happens as a person is falling asleep. It often feels like a quick jolt through the body, sometimes strong enough to wake someone up completely. Many people also experience the sensation of falling, which can trigger the twitch in the arms or legs. Hypnic jerks are common. In fact, most people experience them at least occasionally, even if they don't remember it. They usually occur during the transition from wakefulness to sleep, in the early stage of non-REM sleep. Scientists are not fully certain why hypnic jerks happen, but there are several theories. One leading idea is that as the body relaxes during sleep onset, the brain may misinterpret the relaxation of muscles as a sign of falling. In response, it sends a sudden burst of signals to correct the position, resulting in a jerk. Another theory suggests that hypnic jerks are linked to the brain's sleep system shifting too quickly, causing a brief mismatch between muscle relaxation and motor control. Factors like stress, caffeine, fatigue, and irregular sleep schedules can make hypnic jerks more frequent. Although they can feel startling, hypnic jerks are considered completely normal and harmless. They are not a sign of any neurological disorder in healthy individuals.